The next 45 days in the stock market could make you truly a lot of money, guys. If I refresh my account right now, I'm up $31,000 on the day and we are just getting started. So, in this video, I'm going to talk about exactly what people are getting wrong about the stock market right now, how they are way too bearish, way too nervous about this whole Iran thing, and how this is actually a gift to capitalize and buy great companies at good prices and use stock options to potentially make a killing and generate some cash flow too. That's what we're going to talk about in this video right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and start right here. This is the end all be all chart that you have to understand because you can't do anything in the stock market until you understand where the overall lay of the land is at. So look right here. This shows you the S&P 500 forward price earnings ratio levels and subsequent 10-year returns from that level. I know it says current level kind of like 22 right now. This is not correct. I'm going to show you where we're currently at, and I'm going to show you that the future returns for the stock market actually look much better than what most people are pricing in, and why I think right now is a really good time to start allocating. And I've been saying this in my previous videos. I've been buying the dip as it's been going down lately, and we've been making a lot of money on this dip so far. So, as you can see, there's a clear trend right here. The y-axis right here shows you the expected ROI that you would get. The x-axis down here shows you the price earnings ratio level. So you could clearly see the higher the price earnings ratio level, basically the more expensive the market is, the worse that the future expected returns are going to be in the market. And I don't even want to say expected returns. These are actual returns plotted on this chart since the 1980s of actually where this stuff actually landed out. So it's very clear. The higher the price earnings ratio level, the lower your returns are going to be. And just a few months ago, the S&P 500 price earnings ratio level was at a level of roughly 24. So the future returns did not look good. But as you guys all know, if we take a look at the chart of the Nasdaq or even the S&P right now, you see that we had a little bit of a blow off top, a little bit of a dip, obviously because of the Iran situation. But this was justified simply because valuations were too hot. But if we go to a 1 year chart, as time is going by, earnings per share looks like this, the number one thing that moves the price of stocks in the long term. Earnings per share is going up and to the right. Meanwhile, the index went down. So the index got cheaper and the profits went up, which is the number one thing that moves the price of stocks in the long term. So it's a double bullish catalyst for the market. So what everyone might think, well, Brandon, we already had this little, recovery right here. Did I miss the bottom? Is it too late to invest? The answer is going to be no, and I'm going to tell you exactly why in this video right here. So if we take a look at this chart right here, we're going to figure out what the actual price earnings ratio level is right now for the actual S&P 500 and where we expect our future returns to be from there. So we're going to look at this green line right here on the bottom. You could clearly see going all the way back to basically 2003, price earnings ratio level somewhere average around a level of like upper teens, like 19-ish. Obviously in 2008, the market crashed, P ratio went down a lot, but you could see somewhere between like 15 and 20 is the average right here. You can see that we are clearly a little bit above over here. Market corrected, price earnings ratio level came down. So we go up here on the top. As of March 31st, which it's not going to change much day to day if you're not watching this video on March 31st. But as of March 31st, the P ratio forward was about 20, 19.7. And on top of that, we're also about to get Q1 earnings that are going to come through. So then when we factor in the new earnings from Q1, it's going to make the E right here, earnings go up. And if the price doesn't do anything, that means the price earnings ratio level is going to go down, which means the market is cheaper, safer, and more compelling. You're getting more bang for your buck. So in about a month from right now, it's very, very possible that the PE ratio might be 18 if the market doesn't really go anywhere, simply because earnings, which is this blue line right here, earnings are simply growing very, very strong. You can see a little bit of an acceleration in earnings growth rate here, and the market's going down at the same time, which is exactly what I was talking about right here. I know I'm in the way, but it doesn't matter. Earnings is going up, market's going down. This is like the foundation and the concrete of your portfolio, the base of it. And up here, we're kind of walking on like thin ice for the most part because we're just so far above the earnings per share growth line. But now we're actually even still a little bit below it with the rebound that we're seeing in the market. So it is still a good time to allocate. So if we assume that based on the data that we just talked about, the forward price earnings ratio level for the market in about a month from now is going to be around 18. What does that tell you our expected ROI can be on this chart right here? So we have 23, we have 20 right here, we have 17 right here. So 18 is going to land somewhere in this ballpark right here. And when it's 18, the 10-year forward returns for the stock market were always, every single time, green and positive, meaning you made money. Now, how green was it? It wasn't a 20% ROI in the S&P 500. It was somewhere in this range of, we'll just say, like 7 to 9% ish, which isn't really that bad. And I know that people will say, well, Brandon, I want to invest in more than the S&P 500. I don't want to just do the boring thing of that. I get it. But we have to understand where the lay of the land is at first before we go invest in individual companies, before we go invest in options and stuff like that. Because if the S&P 500 is a bubble, for example, and the forward expected returns are probably going to be crap, all your individual stocks that you think are cheap, compelling, and you want to go do options on them in a bullish way, you're probably going to get in trouble. Because as you see, when the S&P 500 falls, the Nasdaq falls, and every other company goes down with it, they all move in tandem. So you have to start from the top. You have to start from the key needle movers right now of where's the overall S&P 500 valuation at, and what do we expect the future returns going to be. Based on this, they're going to be pretty good, maybe a little bit below trend because valuations are, teeny bit hot still maybe, but hey, we have really, really strong earnings per share growth. The number one thing that moves the price of stocks in the long term is the profits. That growth is still really strong right now. Inflation is still in check, even with the whole oil situation. And the economy, it's not breaking. The labor market's okay. We're still getting good GDP growth. So overall, the whole picture looks pretty good right now. The AI picture looks good. Capital expenditures are still very strong in AI. Corporate profit margins are at all-time highs. So when you're just seeing all this FUD and negativity in the market, all the news that you go read, you got to filter out the signal versus the noise. And most of that stuff that you hear with Iran and whatever they're trying to fearmonger you into is going to be noise. The signal is the economy is okay, valuations are fair, earnings growth is fine, inflation is still okay. When you understand that, we can then go to step number 2, which is how do we, of course, allocate our portfolios? What stocks are we buying right now? And I show my stock sheet maybe like once or twice a month on a YouTube channel. I'll show you guys it right now for what I'm most bullish on, and I'll give you a little bit of a thesis behind it. So here's how I break this stuff down. Basically, if you look at this column right here, column H that's highlighted, this shows you what I'm most bullish on, and obviously red is least bullish on. You guys saw that Nike just reported earnings recently, and I have been saying that Nike has terrible growth, terrible moat, terrible execution risk, and evaluation still sucks. The stock just keeps going down, down, down. It's no surprise. But when we look at the top, at the cream of the crop on my stock sheet, you can see that I like things like Nvidia and the Nasdaq and Meta, S&P 500, Micron, TSM, Robinhood, Microsoft, United Health. I mean, just go down through the list. And I say right here that anything above a score of a 75 is going to be potentially a buy. And then on the right here, I kind of show you like potential allocations that you could do. Of course, keeping your ratios in check. You see that a big bulk of the portfolio is still in the Nasdaq, big bulk is still in the S&P 500. We finger in some individual stocks, we finger in some puts that we're going to sell, and then we finger in some calls that we're going to buy. But of course, again, ratios are always going to be in check. So if we take a look at something like Nvidia right now, which could make you truly a lot of money, there's a humongous discrepancy on it because just take a look at this data right here. We're looking at earnings per share growth literally skyrocketing and going up and to the right. Revenue growth skyrocketing going up and to the right. Growth is 64% year over year for earnings per share. Revenue 65%. And you're getting all that for a 35, 36 price earnings ratio level trailing, meaning what already came in the past. Nvidia is cheap right now, in my opinion. So when you see the discrepancy of EPS growing, but the stock doing nothing, and the overall market going down, meaning it's getting cheaper, safer, and more compelling, there's a lot of opportunity right here in things like this. And that's why it's no surprise that Nvidia is on the top stop right now on my stock sheet. Valuation, it gets an 18 out of 20. The growth, 18 out of 20. The moat, 18 out of 20. Execution risk, 8 out of 10. And the economy overall, 21 out of 30, which I have an economic scorecard here. I go through various data points and I score it. And right now I put the economy at a 151 out of 200. So when you understand these are the big dog needle movers that truly freaking make money in the stock market, not Fibonacci's or Bollinger Bands or moving averages or day trading or swing trading, like true fundamentals, true things that actually matter in the real world of being a business owner, being a stock owner, which is basically you're being a business owner. We own a sliver of the company. And then we use options right here to just simply magnify something when it makes sense to magnify it. Nvidia checks a lot of the good boxes right now, and sentiment's a little bit bad on it right now, but guess what? That's a good time to do this stuff. So while Nvidia's been doing nothing, I've been slowly adding some shares. I've been slowly selling some portfolio secured puts, taking the cash flow from the portfolio secured puts, buying some shares, and I bought a couple call options too on it. So Nvidia is one that I'm very bullish on, but of course, all my options, the expiration dates, as you could see right here, 2-year expiration date for sold puts, strike price 10% below, and then call options. I just barely buy calls, like just barely out of the money. And I go about 2 years out on stuff like that because you got to give yourself some time to play your thesis out. Like if you would have bought calls right here and I said, oh my God, Nvidia is cheap, it's like, for the last, we'll just say since August of last year, over 6 months, the stock's done nothing. So if you bought a 6-month call option, you got smoked right there. But again, if you would have started from the top, like I've been saying, and understand where the S&P 500 valuation is at, you would have saw that the S&P was expensive. The forward P was like 23. Hey, future expected returns probably aren't going to be good. When the S&P fell, everything fell with it. So it all trickles from the top of what the S&P is actually doing. So Nvidia is something that I definitely have my eyes on right now and I'm bullish on. As for, huge allocation to my portfolio, the NASDAQ, triple Q. You can see these percents right here, like percent of IV. That means percent of intrinsic value. So I guess we'll go to NVIDIA right here and go to the right. You can see that the actual intrinsic value for NVIDIA is $231 per share, according to my calculations right here. You can see the current price is about $176 at the time of this recording. So NVIDIA is cheap. NVIDIA should be trading somewhere around $230 right now. So there's a clear margin of safety, a clear discount that you're getting into the stock with right there. But going to the NASDAQ right here. NASDAQ is something that 98% of people are not going to beat in the long term. It's a cold, hard fact. And one of the best ways to just prove this to you is just go on Google and type in Robinhood Investor Index, and we're going to scroll down, and I'm going to show you how the collection of Robinhood investors do on the platform. This is not Robinhood stock. This is how Robinhood investors actually on a platform perform. The green line right here is going to be how the Robinhooders did. The blue line right here is going to be how the NASDAQ did. Since January 2020, they did not beat the NASDAQ. They got smoked. They got drilled hard. And, that's why I put a good chunk of my portfolio in NASDAQ, 35% roughly, because it's hard to beat that stuff. So I'm allocating basically like 35% NASDAQ, 35% S&P 500. The rest is going to be individual stocks and bought call options. And then in a separate bucket, I sell portfolio secure puts with my ratios always in check. And this system is what I've been beating the market with in the long term. I expect to continue to beat it. Just simply looking for good companies at good prices is all I'm really doing here. But, the triple Q index, intrinsic value, if we go to the right, is somewhere around $600 a share. We're close to that right now, so it's not like a screaming hot deal, but we're within the ballpark of that. And it's a good time to allocate right now if you have a long-term time horizon. You can see things like Meta, 62% of intrinsic value. You can see it's currently trading at 590 and intrinsic value is at 950. If we pull up Meta over here, you could see that there's some clear things that are happening that it's like this stock is pretty undervalued right now. So take a look at the trend. Earnings per share is going up and to the right. Revenue is going up and to the right. And earnings per share is growing even in this environment where they're spending so much on their data centers. They're still able to maintain solid earnings per share growth. Meanwhile, the stock to where it's at right now versus to the left right here, it's basically at the same price as what it was November of 2024. That is craziness. But earnings per share is going up and to the right. So you really got to think about that stuff. You're getting Meta at a trailing price earnings ratio level below 20. It's in the teens. Good revenue growth, good earnings per share growth. And again, once their data center spending slows down, and they monetize the data centers, there'll be less spending, so there'll be more profits, and there'll be more profits because the data centers are then producing a profit. So, there's a couple bullish tailwinds for Meta, in my opinion. Now, if we take a look at the rest of the stock sheet, what else do we got going on here? VOL, that's the S&P 500, basically at intrinsic value. So, decent future expected returns from here, which will basically be on par with the earnings per share growth. When you buy anything for like fair value, the expected ROI that you're going to get on that investment if you buy at fair value is simply going to be the percent that the profits go up. If the S&P 500 profits go up by 12% in the next 12 months, we're expecting to have this 12% higher in 12 months from right now. That's theoretically what it should do. Is it actually going to do that? The market's volatile, we'll see. But that's theoretically where the market should go in about a year from right now. Micron's something that I'm definitely bullish on. It's going to be a very, 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 very volatile company. You can see it's only 2% of my portfolio. Yes, I'm selling some puts. Yes, I'll buy some calls. But this is, a very small percent of my portfolio because there's more uncertainty with, memory in the market and just how long this cycle is going to go for, because memory is very cyclical and there's potentially competition coming in from other companies and stuff like that. And, Google's doing this new turbo quant thing. So there's just more uncertainty with Micron. And when I don't know, I allocate less, or I just don't allocate at all. And it's okay to not know with stuff in the stock market. TSM basically at intrinsic value, in my opinion. Robinhood a little bit cheap, Microsoft cheap, United Health cheap, Berkshire Hathaway a little bit expensive. And then the list goes down. So if you take a look at the bottom of the list, which is kind of funny, a lot of these stocks right here, maybe the stocks that you guys have been following from people on YouTube or X or whatever platform you're on, and I'm not saying they're bad companies. A lot of them are bad companies, but a lot of them just have really bad valuation levels. And simply saying something is a good company does not mean it's a good investment. That's what many people have to realize here. Like iPhone right here. This iPhone, just say, is $1,000. If it costed $500,000, it's a good iPhone, but it's not a good investment probably for most people. There's a price that you could be willing to pay for something. So, you got to get a good company and a good price, use options in a responsible way, and it really comes down to that right there. So, market going forward from here, I'm bullish. I think we're going to get more volatility. The Iran thing is probably going to drag out for some time, but I don't think it's really going to move the needle for the true fundamentals of these businesses in the long term. Like if we were to take the S&P 500 companies and interview all the CEOs, so there'll be like 500 CEOs that we're going to talk to, and say, hey, do you think that what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz and Iran and oil is truly going to impact the fundamentals of your business in the long term? 98% of them is probably going to say no. Therefore, we're going to use the volatility as simply opportunity to capitalize. That is it. Do not overcomplicate it. Keep it simple. So that's the video. Like, subscribe, hype, drop a comment, do all the good stuff. Share it if you want to, if you get value. If not, all good. And if you want to learn more about my stock option strategy, watch this playlist right here. It's going to help you out a lot. I'll see you guys there.